Hi everyone, it's Rachel. In this tutorial, I'll teach you how to create a multicolor iris using the Color Therapy app. For this coloring, I wanted to make it look realistic, but with extraordinary, unconventional colors. I'll show you how to accomplish this step by step, and remember, you can always use your own colors. To follow along, find this image under People, Close-Up Face. Alright, so I already got started here coloring around the eye and in the whites of the eye, so we can just focus on the iris. Now the first thing to do is tap to fill in the iris with one solid color. So I'll start off with the basic palette and just tap to fill in the whole iris with this orangish brown. And I'll also color in the pupil with a black. Now let's go over to the oil tool. Let's set the size to 50 and opacity at 30. And using that darker turquoise from the basic palette, and make sure coloring inside the lines mode is set to off, you're going to add lines coming outward from the pupil down through the iris. So these are just straight lines coming out. Now go to the pen tool, set the size to 1 and opacity at 65, and we're going to draw in little striations in the eye, crossing over each other. So you sort of do the same thing, but you go all the way across as you're adding in little details into the iris. You can make some a little bit wiggly too. Now let's go back to the oil tool. We're going to add some more colors. Let's set the size to 70 and the opacity can be at 17. So I'm going to add in some bright colors. So I'm starting with a yellow. I'm just going to add it in here and there. Just little spots in the eye. And then maybe a little bit of orange as well. And a touch of red here and there. And then with a lighter orange, I want to make the area around the pupil directly just a bit brighter. So I'm just going in a circle around there. Now let's use the smear tool. Set the size to 15 and intensity at 60. Starting from the pupil outward, we're going to just blend and smear. So just start blending and smearing those colors. You want to work outward and you're kind of going in making a starburst with it. Some of the black from the pupil can blend into the color as well, just a little bit. I would recommend not blending all of it, just a few areas here and there. Now let's add in some details with the pen tool. So set the size to 1 and opacity at 30. Zoom into the pupil right there, and then with a dark brown from the basic palette, just add in little scribble lines, kind of in a starburst fashion, going all the way around the pupil. Now let's fix the pupil. So go back to the airbrush tool and just select a basic black. You can leave the same settings and just color it in so it's a nice round circle now. Under the deep blue palette, select the darkest blue there and set the size to 40 and opacity at 30. And we're going to shade all the way around the iris. You can do several layers. And you also want to do at the top lid where that is. You can bring that shadow down a little bit. Then lower the size to about 13 or so and add one more layer, so just right on the edge of that iris. Now for the highlights, let's select the pen tool, set the size to 8 and opacity at 24. With a basic white, we're going to add in a bit of a glimmer or a glare into the eye. So I'm just adding it in. It's kind of going to curve around the pupil right in the middle of the iris. And you can draw another one on the other side, curving around the pupil. Remember, with the pen tool, the more layers you add, the brighter it will be. You can add a couple little dots as well. And lastly, let's add in some eyelashes in the reflection. Set the pen tool size to 1 and opacity at 40. I'm going to use that darkest blue from the blue palette that we were just using to draw in those lashes. I'll zoom in so you can see it better. And they're going to kind of cross over each other and curve in towards the pupil because the eye is spherical. So I'm just drawing it into the top portion only, and that's it. The oil tool, smear tool, and pen tool are your best friends when it comes to combining them to make a glossy close-up eye. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.